ፕሮግራማችን እንደቀጠለ ነው ተመልካቾቻችን። አሁንም መገኛችን በህንድ ኤምባሲ ውስጥ ነው። አሁን ደግሞ ከክቡር አምባሳደር ጋር አጭር ቆይታ የሚኖረን ይሆናል ስለ ሁለቱ ሀገር ግንኙነት እንዲሁም ደግሞ አሁን ስለ ህንድ የነጻነት ቀን አከባበር በጥቂቱ ወደ እናንተ የምናደርስ ይሆናል። አብራችሁን ቆዩ። Thank you so much for having this interview with me. Can you please introduce yourself first?
Very good afternoon to all of you. I am Robert Shetkintong, India's ambassador to the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, and I've been here since the last 10 months.
Yeah, I have had the chance to do an interview with the previous ambassador, and we talked a little bit about the relationship between India and Ethiopia, and how it goes 7 decades, and now you're celebrating your Independence Day from the British rule. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
India got its independence in 1947, and since then we have prospered as a nation. 75 years is a milestone for us to reflect as a nation and to decide the next steps in our progress. We have from a country that was one of the richest countries before the colonial rule. We have started our journey as a nation, and we have progressed so much during the last 75 years. And as the largest democratic country, as one of the largest economies in the world, as a country that would like to share its development and prosperity with our sisters and brothers in Africa and other countries in Asia and the world, we would like to celebrate India at 75 in a very appropriate manner, in the biggest way that we can.
Yeah, I know that right after you attained your independence, a year after that, a formal diplomatic relation was established with Ethiopia, and I know that you're also celebrating that together with the Independence Day. How are you planning to do that?
Yes, Ethiopia was one of the first countries from Africa to establish diplomatic relations with India. That is why for the next 2 years, starting from this year till August 2023, we will be celebrating 2 big events simultaneously. One is India at 75 and India-Ethiopia at 75. So we have started out number of activities, lots of activities. One would be cultural events. So in the next 3-4 months, we are expecting 3 cultural groups to perform in various parts of your country here.
They came from India?
Yeah, they will be coming from India. They will be performing in Addis Ababa. Then we will take them to Adama. We will take them to Hawassa. Another group, we will take them to Harar, Dire Dawa. And the third group, we will be taking them to Debar Barhan and Kombolcha. So we are trying to take them to as many areas of this country as possible. Then we are also organizing a number of Indian film festivals in Ethiopia. Here we are using the services of Indian professors and lecturers who are teaching in various public universities in Ethiopia. So for the next 2 years, we will be screening a number of Indian movies. Then we also have initiated tree plantation. This is part of the Ethiopian government's policy. So to supplement that, we from the embassy and our Indian community here in Ethiopia, we are also going to do tree plantations all over this country. So these are some of the gist of activities that we have in mind. The other one would be 15 years ago, when we celebrated 60 years of diplomatic relations, we had released a stamp, postal stamp. So we also intend to release another commemorative stamp to celebrate our 75 years. So these are some of the activities that we have in mind.
So you're working with the National Post Office?
Yes, yes. And with various authorities in Ethiopia.
How do you think people could involve in being a part of these, events all over the country?
Recently, we celebrated International Day of Yoga here in Ethiopia, and I'm very delighted to say that besides India, we organize the largest number of Yoga Day events in the world in Ethiopia. So we organize 100 yoga sessions in various parts of Ethiopia. So we had organized yoga sessions in 28 universities in Ethiopia, another 50 factories in Addis Ababa, in Oromia, even in the south, and even in Amhara, and even in the north. So this is just a simple testament of the kind of receptivity that India has in Ethiopia. It is not modern. Our connectivities, our relations are ancient. If you would recall, 2000 years ago, traders from India came to Ethiopia.
Yeah, spice traders. Yeah.
Spice traders. So that is why Ethiopian spices, Indian spices are similar. Because of that trade, you have exchange of ideas. Exchange of ideas in the sense that you have your rock churches in Amhara and in Tigray, the rock-hewn churches. We believe, many writers believe that probably the inspiration of these beautiful rock-hewn churches were from the single rock temples in South India. So we had this rock-hewn temple architecture in India that was about 2,000 years old. So we believe that because of our contacts, inspiration came from India. So what I mean is that because of this trade relations that was ancient, we always has contacts. If you would also recall, about 500 years ago, there were Abyssinians or Ethiopians who went to India, and some of them actually became successful army generals. So you have some of them actually who rose up and became, I would say, local kings. So even some of the forts that they have constructed and built in Gujarat, in Bengal, or even in South India are still there.
So they're tourist areas now?
Yes, and actually there are some communities in South India, we believe they are from Ethiopia, their origins are from Ethiopia. So we have contact.
That's actually a very interesting story. You know, our relation goes years and years back with, you know, the people-to-people contact, and then there was formal relations. Even before formal relations, we had you know, a political you know, understanding when the Italians invaded Ethiopia in the 1930s, and you know, India was one of the very few countries that actually, you know, stood by the side of Ethiopia. And fast forwarding today, India is also a very you know, a close partner to Ethiopia when it comes to, you know, supporting our sovereignty and, you know, kind of believing in what we can do for our own selves. And you know, this how do you think these relationships were maintained till now? Because, you know, like I said, fast forwarding today, India is still, you know, on the side of Ethiopia, supporting, you know, and believing in the fact that, you know, we can solve our problems ourselves.
See, on 9th May 1936, when foreign invaders entered Addis Ababa, actually Indian people were then under colonial rule, but they organized demonstrations and actually commemorated Day of Ethiopia on that day to show their solidarity to the people of Ethiopia. Today, fast forward after our independence and in the modern times, our relations are good, encompasses all sectors, and actually it is very comforting to say that we have excellent relations bilaterally, regionally, and even on the African level. So I believe for me as the ambassador of India, it is very comforting to say that we have good, excellent relations. When the Ethiopian Deputy Prime Minister visited India in February 2021, he met our External Affairs Minister and they discussed all aspects of our relations. And both the leaders said we should continue to expand our relations. So expanding our relations will cover all sectors. For example, education. Today, or let us not today, about 60, 70 years ago, we had lots of Indian teachers who came to Ethiopia, many of them teaching in the remote areas of the country. We also have number of Indian professors and lecturers today who are teaching in public universities in Ethiopia.
Yeah, I know that there's a lot of them in Mekelle University and Gondar.
Then you have lots of, or a number of Ethiopian students who are studying in India. Actually, Ethiopian students form the largest group of students from Africa studying in India. This year, Government of India, through the Foreign Ministry and the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, gave 60 scholarship seats to Ethiopian students. And out of that, actually half of them were research scholars, are research scholars. So for you and me, for Ethiopia and India, where education is very important, I think the relations that we have in this sector is also very satisfying. For example, we have a book store, an Indian bookstore here in Addis Ababa called Reliable Books. This book, they have been supplying reference books for Ethiopian universities for the last 20 years. So this is also another commercial aspect, but still what I'm only trying to emphasize is that our relations in the economic, in the education sector actually is tremendous, and we can still do better.
I know that India is also the, in terms of being large, it's the second largest foreign investment in Ethiopia, and I know that currently, like medical tourism, India is booming when it comes to medical tourism, and a lot of Ethiopians are actually going to India to get medical treatments, like for cancer. I know that that's also a very strong sector in India, right?
Why are Indian hospitals attractive for Ethiopian citizens, or for that matter for African people? That is because the prices are comparatively cheap, and the facilities there in India are excellent. But what I also want to say is that an Indian hospital is about to be inaugurated here in Addis Ababa. So now you are having not only Ethiopian patients going to India, but you have an Indian hospital that will be established in Addis Ababa. So that is another improvement. Pharmaceuticals, Indian pharmaceuticals are excellent. The prices are cheap, quality is good. Ethiopia, or for that matter Africa, imports about 60% of its requirements from India. But again, what I want to tell the listeners is that today we are having a number of Indian pharmaceutical companies here in Ethiopia. You have Kadila Pharmaceuticals that has been here for the last 10-15 years producing medicine here in Ethiopia. You have the second one called Kilitz Estro. This is on the way to Deborah Burhan. They are about to start production. You have another 3 Indian companies that are going to set up their manufacturing plant at the Kilinto Industrial Park. So you see that even in pharmaceuticals, you have Indian companies that are coming here, that are establishing themselves. Some of them are joint ventures, some of them are standalone Indian investments. Now, this is part of the overall Indian investments in Ethiopia because the commercial or business aspect is something that we feel very proud because India is the second largest foreign investor here in Ethiopia, and also employing what we believe there are more than 75,000 Ethiopian nationals who are working in Indian factories. Then we are the third largest trading partner. Last year in 2021 or 2020, our bilateral trade stood at $1.1 billion. So that the economic, the business, the commercial aspect is something that is very evident, and there is still tremendous scope to improve. For example, look at this. If you travel to Hawassa, on the way in July, you will see Alana Sons have established the largest meat processing plant, not only in East Africa, but probably we believe is the largest meat processing plant in Africa. It is a modern infrastructure, and actually that plant, when it functions to its full capacity, can generate so much of foreign currency.
I've asked this question a couple of years ago when I interviewed the previous ambassador, and I asked him, I know we talked about Indian investment in Ethiopia and, the significance of India's contribution to Ethiopia's economy. But I asked the reverse, the contribution of Ethiopia to India when it comes to foreign investment. And he said it wasn't a lot. So, do you plan on giving incentives and actually encouraging Ethiopian investors and Ethiopian people to go to India and invest? Is that something you think about?
I think at the moment we are looking at joint ventures that I believe in the foreseeable future will be investments here in Ethiopia. But inshallah, a time will come when Ethiopian investors also will go to India.
What about export? Does India import coffee? Ethiopia is known for exports like sesame and coffee and textiles even and leather. Are you considering maybe working in that area?
For example, today we have two tanneries in Mojo. These are Indian-owned tanneries. They are in the leather industry, and for them, they are investing money here to export to the markets in the US or in Europe. But if there is scope for them to export the leather to India, they will. But at the moment, from my discussions, what I come to know is that they are only exporting to markets in the US and in Europe. We also have about 10, 12 Indian textile companies. Some of them are in Bolelemi, some of them are in Hawassa, some of them were in Mekele. They are large Indian investments in textiles, but their markets are again to the US and Europe. Yes. We have also some Indian textile companies here in Addis Ababa and Oromia. Of course, their markets are Ethiopian markets. So at the moment, we do not have that exports in these sectors to India.
Yeah, Ethiopia is one of the growing economies in the world, and one of our hopes is into being a prosperous and a better developed country in the future is the Ethiopian Grand Renaissance Dam. What do you think about that, and what are your hopes when it comes to the GERD?
The river Abyei in Ethiopia, or the river Nile in Sudan and in Egypt has been there for the last thousands of years. The three countries have lived peacefully, and it is also our belief that this river will continue to be the source of livelihood, the source of development for Ethiopia as well as for Sudan and Egypt. India is a friendly country to Ethiopia. We have also excellent relations with Sudan and Egypt. It is our belief that the three countries should come together and discuss. See, the first thing is that when you start talking, that means you are already accepting that this is something that can be discussed, that can be solved. So we are confident that the three countries will be able to solve this issue.
India few decades ago was a poor country, and it's one of the leading economies in the world now. Ethiopia, and it's a very populous country in the world, and Ethiopia is the second populous country in Africa. What do you wish for Ethiopia to learn from your country?
India and Ethiopia are developing countries. It is not only for Ethiopia to learn from us, India can also learn from Ethiopia. But both countries should look at each other. The path of development that India has taken is similar to what Ethiopia is taking now. So you have political leadership here for the last 15-20 years who have enacted laws, who have made legislations that are good for the economic development of your country. That is why today you have lots of foreign investments here in Ethiopia. And for you as a country to dream of Ethiopia being one of the manufacturing hubs in this region in the next 2-3 years actually is commendable, and you have shown it by making laws that are conducive to foreign investment, and I think you are moving in the right direction.
India and Ethiopia, are celebrating their 75th anniversary, and I hope that there will be more 75 years of pleasant and smooth relation with Ethiopia. Do you have any last message you want to get across?
The only message that I would like to say today is that India's presence in the last 100 years has been very commendable, in the sense that there were about 100 families here, Indian families who used to live here in Addis Ababa. Earlier it used to be in Dire Dawa in Addis Ababa. But today most of these families, about 50 of them, are living in Addis Ababa, and they have been accepted as Ethiopians. If you look at them, for all purpose, they will look like Indians. But actually, these families, in their food habits, in their way of thinking, for all purpose, are Ethiopians. And Ethiopia as a nation, has accepted them. And I would like to thank the people of Ethiopia for accepting them, and also for accepting all Indians who come here to set up our factories or to earn our livelihoods here in your beautiful country. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this pleasant interview. I really appreciate your time. ክቡራን ተመልካቾቻችን ከክቡር አምባሳደር ጋር ያደረኩት ቆይታ ይህንን ይመስል ነበር። ስለተከታተላችሁን በጣም አድርገን እያመሰገንን ቀሪ ናሁ ፕሮግራሞች ይቀጥላሉ። ሰናይ ጊዜ